Welcome back to part 2 of streamers' opinions that you can disagree with, based on informations that we both have at our disposal, or informations that are locked up squarely in your head that you have mistaken as real. Don't worry, we both do it. This isn't an attack on anyone specific. This is just the truth. But where we last left off, chat, we barely made a dent in progress, as is usually the case. We talked a lot about different characters. We established some ground on what we consider important and the kind of island we're on. You know, bada bing, bada boom. So, just a refresher, the goal is survival for undisclosed amount of time. Could be a week, could be a month. Depends. We're keeping that part open-ended. So, with the objective to survive, you get one person with you, and they are given the same restrictions. They are given the same restrictions as John, where the the same humanly needs of food, water, atmosphere. There's no gameplay. Where do you see gameplay? You know, I could open up Cookie Clicker on the side, and we can do that. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Instead, you're gonna stare at this white screen with characters on it, and you're gonna listen to me yap, and then I'm gonna click an image. Alright? This is what you signed up for. Now shut up and listen. Alright. Here we go. I can't play Family Guy funny moments in the corner. No Subway Surfers. Chat, shut up. Shut up. It's time to be on an island. Alright? Okay. So, I don't remember at all what we established last week, so this is a common thing that happens, but there will be discrepancies in opinion because the way my brain works is different from the way my brain worked a week ago. So, that's important to remember. So if I say something like, oh, this character's good because X, Y, and Z, and last week I said this character isn't good because X, Y, and Z, and you think, wait a minute, there's a discrepancy. Yeah, it's because these are done in a week apart, and sometimes I forget what I said and think, and sometimes my opinions change based on how intoxicated I am. How about that? Alright, so, Byakuren and Wagasaki Hime. Now, I'm pretty sure Wagasaki Hime showed up before, but I don't remember if Byakuren did at all. But it's fair to assume that Byakuren would be quite the cooperative body, and I'm sure she would be perfectly fine at every required aspect. And I'm pretty sure we established Wagasaki Hime would be absolutely perfect for finding food, provided she doesn't really mind, you know, eating fish. Or at the very least, supplying fish. So John can eat, our protagonist here. The only thing that's really, okay, so here's something we didn't really talk about in terms of shelter. Are we making one shelter for two, or are we making two different shelters for one? This is an aspect we didn't look into. How many characters would look at John and go, alright, build me a house, fucko. And then John has to build two shelters, one for him and one for her. How many characters do you think are like that? That's something we didn't even just think about prior. So a character like Byakuren would, she would be understanding of the situation. One shelter is enough. No privacy there needed. But Wagasaki Hime would just sleep in the water, so she's fine. She doesn't need like an on-land shelter, so you don't have to really build anything specific for her. She's essentially just like, she delivers food, and then you deliver things that she wants. So you have a cooperative relationship like that. But that said, it means you're effectively alone, but your food is kind of covered. So, that's good. But, I don't know if she's fine with eating fish, but she's fine with fishing as an activity. I know that much. Byakuren, I think, is just an all-rounder. Like, all-rounder, but above average in every regard. and there's no real negative traits to her that you'd have to worry about. And she's strong to boot. So I think you'd be fine. I think she's great. But does her general usefulness outweigh Wagasaki Hime's one very good niche? But it's not like you need her to fish, right? She's just a very convenient way to acquire fish as a food source. How far out can she go before it counts as outside the island? That's a question that I don't have an answer to. But she's not allowed to leave the island. So, as long as she... I think it's fine as long as she comes back. But there's got to be a parameter set up for sure. That, like, some kind of parameter setting up that says if you go this far, it counts as leaving the island. But she needs to live in water, so it's fair to say that she should have as much real estate in the water as John would have on the island, right? So I guess basically take the what is it? The radius or the diameter? I can't remember which one it is. But okay, well let's just keep it simple. Take the length of the island, split it in two, and then put each side at the end of the island, and that's your parameter. So it's basically the whole length of the island, but not really, but it's good enough. She's a freshwater fish. Yeah? Well, alright. I was gonna say something, then I forgot. No. She's a freshwater mermaid, but that doesn't necessarily mean she can't live in saltwater. Especially when you think about how mermaids are found in the oceans. Saltwater doesn't exist naturally in Gensokyo. So obviously a saltwater mermaid wouldn't be able to exist there, so she had to adapt into the freshwater. Also, just because, you know, you can go in saltwater, can't you? You can go in saltwater and freshwater. Why can't she? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. See, yeah, Wagasaki Hime would be really good in one regard, but Byakuren would be helpful in every single regard, and even more so, like, just on average. So I think Byakuren is the clear choice here, personally. So I gotta give it to her, because even just outside of like general usefulness, she would be a lot more pleasant to be around than most characters. Probably not. I wouldn't say she's more pleasant than every character, but if you're just looking for a very non-offensive companion, that's probably gonna be a little preachy and annoying with Buddhism. You're just gonna have to deal with that. I wouldn't call it preachy, actually, but she will be, you know, doing her Buddhist stuff. But she will be very patient with you, so you could, you know, owe her the same decency. Wriggle Nightbug and Batchuli Knowledge. Now, I'm pretty sure we talked about Wriggle before, but I think we left out a very important detail if we did. But I actually don't remember who we talked about. I don't remember Patchy, though. So, Wriggle here is perfectly fine in many regards, but I think a big thing that she has over a lot of characters is her ability to control bugs. Now, we don't know what kind of bugs exist on this island, but Rego can control whatever bug is present on the island. So chat, humor me for a second. Give me some examples of tropical island bugs. You know, give me an example of a bug you find on a tropical island. Because that bug would be at Wriggle's disposal. Flies. What do flies do? Mosquitoes? She keeps those away. Mosquitoes are kept away. She tells them to go away. You won't have to worry about mosquitoes at all with her around. There's no bees, right? There's no bees. If there were bees, she could get honey. That'd be great. I don't know if bees are tropical climate. Flies like the trash man of the bug universe. I don't know, I'm not a bug. They just exist and die. That's all they do. Waste of my time. There's a lot of things you don't have to worry about with Wriggle in terms of like just you can sleep pretty safely at night without having to worry about the boobs. So you could technically kind of sleep outdoors without proper shelter. So she kind of gives you some leeway in that regard, but only against bugs. So yeah, I think that she would be very good in that regard. In other regards, though, I don't know. Is she a gatherer? Maybe she can use the bugs to find. You know, she'll have an information network she can use for the island, which is pretty good. But otherwise, she seems like she'd be pretty like whatever in every other regard. She'd be a great source of information, but you would have to deal with a lot of bugs, but not like in a way that's actually harmful to you. And I think it's pretty easy to just like, if you know that the bugs aren't gonna do anything to you, you'll probably get used to them pretty easily. Some people are afraid of bugs, but I feel like if you know the bug is not gonna do anything bad to you, you'll be chill. You can be chill together. So that's what Wriggle's strength is. Now Batchy would be not very helpful in any real capacity. Assuming she's allowed to take her magic books with her, she can, what? Start a fire? Then what? What does she do after she starts a fire? Does the water that she can create, is that drinkable? Can she create drinkable water? She can create metal. I don't know how useful her magic is, but also her disposition is very weak. So she would not do anything physical. She would not move around, like, at all. She would complain. She's also quite rude. So that's a thing. But that's really it. That's all she provides. Fire and water. She's not a good conversationalist. She's lazy. She doesn't do any physical labor. She's not gonna go looking for food at all. And she's definitely gonna make you build another shelter for her specifically. Unless she can summon something with some kind of magic book. Again, depends on what kind of magic book she's allowed to bring. But if she's not allowed to bring anything with her, except the clothes off her backs, then she's actually useless. Because she can't just recite spells from memories. She needs a catalyst, which I believe are the books. I don't think Patchy's ever just cast a spell without a book. So I think Patchy is one of the worst options by far. Sakuya. So I know we talked about Sakuya last time. Like, she's a maid. I wouldn't call her as necessarily a survivalist, but it's pretty fair to say that Sakuya is good at everything. So she's very helpful. Tenchi, on the other hand, well, I don't think Tenchi is a good idea. What does Tenchi do? Does she build a shelter? No. Does she fetch food or water? No. Does she gather stuff? Maybe. Can she cook? No. Is she a good conversationalist? No. Would she make you build a second shelter for her? Yes. And not only would she make you build a second shelter, she would make sure that her shelter is nicer than John's. So the nicer shelter will go to her. So you have to make, you can't. So Tenchi is terrible. Tenchi is a terrible idea. The only thing she has, assuming it's consistent, is the peaches on her hat. How many peaches grow on her hat? Are they infinite? Or are they stashed there? Do they actually grow on her hat, or are they just kind of on there? Because if you could just eat them, they're celestial peaches. They're special. They have special abilities. But you'd only be able to eat peaches. And you get sick of them at some point, I'm sure. I don't think Tenchi is good in any capacity. I think she's a bad idea written all over her. I think Sakuya, however, if she was told, alright, you have to survive, then she would just, you know, just follow the rules. Remember, this is a situation that they're putting themselves in for some form of reward. So we can assume the context here is Sakuya is participating because she was told to, or is because the reward is something she wants. People here are actively trying to get the reward is the thing. So you're trapped on the island, so they're incentivized to actually do something. It's just a matter of what it is they can do, or can't do. And I don't think Patchy would do much of anything. Even if she wanted it. Even if she wanted the reward, she'd be useless. So Sakuya for sure. Let's see. Now, Yuka... Yuka could still be more helpful than Tenchi, but I think I'd be more afraid of Yuka than Tenchi, personally. As long as you don't do anything bad, you'll be okay, I guess. But what can she do for you? What will she do for you? She can grow food. She can manipulate flowers, I guess. I think Yuka would be fine, assuming that you don't do anything to the, you know, her flowers. You'll be okay. But she might be a hard one to talk to. And she's probably pretty intimidating. But I don't think you have to worry about her harming you unless you do something first. Start a farm, exactly. Tokiko and Itori. Okay, so this is definitely the first time Itori's popped up, and Tokiko, this is not her first time. Tokiko is just an angry girl who got mad about Reimu stealing her book, and that's about all we know about her. She's a completely average character in that sense. Itori, on the other hand, lives on the mountain, scrounger extraordinaire, scavenger definitely. And she can go in the water, so she can similarly go in the water like Wagasaki Hime. And I would say she could build shit, but it depends on how much she can get away with. How much is she allowed to bring, and what could she find on the island? That's the thing. Itori would just be more useful in general, though, because she's an engineer, so she obviously has a hand in architecture, construction, stuff like that. Even if it's not inherently mechanical, I'm sure she could figure something out. I would trust her. She also works well with water, so she knows how to deal with stuff like that as well. She would be, you know, Kappa are considered friends of humans, so she would be a pleasant person to be around, even if she does talk shit behind your back sometimes. But maybe, you know, you can have a good time with her, and she won't eat your ass, so worry about that. Dirt house before dusk tier. She's gonna dig a hole in the ground, put a block of wood over it. Everybody remembers their Minecraft struggle days. The sun's setting, you just build 3 blocks down, you put a block above you, and you stand until the sun comes out. You didn't have enough time to build a house, man. It happens. It's scary out there. You gotta dig yourself in a hole and then emerge when the sun rises. So yeah, Nitori is obviously the winner here, but even just looking at Nitori's greater merits, even if she can't bring her bag of tricks, like just her being a Kappa gives her a lot of water-based advantages that others don't have. So I think she's very helpful in that regard. There's nothing really I think that she's weak at, except for maybe like self-defense if she's just alone. And by that I mean without her stuff, not like alone. Would she make you build another shelter? I don't think she'd force the issue. But I don't think she would be readily, you know, accepting of it. Maybe she would. But at the very least, she's not the kind of character who would say you have to. But maybe you would, because John is a good man. Make her, turn her primitive. Okay, these two are definitely the first time they're showing up. Nazrin and Momiji. So, Momiji. Let's talk about Momi first. So, she's very familiar with the mountain. So, general survival skills, general hunting skills. She's a wolf after all. White Wolf Tengu, mind you, but she's a wolf. Her ability, her clairvoyance, that lets her see like 1,000 feet forward or whatever the limit is, I don't remember. She can see very far ahead with her ability. So she's a great scout in that regard. Obviously very good for defense. She's also very used to harsh conditions as well. So I assume that she wouldn't be very annoying if things weren't going very well. I don't know how much of a conversationalist she'd be. Unless you knew how to play shogi, you probably would have a hard time really engaging with her. She's physically capable, and her job makes her quite reliable in the wilderness. Then we got Nazrin. Fucking rat. Nazrin can find shit. There's no mice for her to control on the island. At least I don't think there would be. She would definitely be a complainer. And she would probably not help very much. But other than that, I don't really know what she does. Like, what good is she if you don't need something found? Can she find a source of fresh water? Do her dowsing rods work on drinkable water, though? I don't really know how that works. But that's all she would be able to do, right? And it's not like she's the only character who could find drinkable water. She could probably find a pretty good source of it. But I don't know. I don't think Rat is quite all that it needs to be. Because as we know about her, she has an ego because of her position. But she's actually she's one of those characters who's very, you know, the going gets tough, tough gets going kind of character. Like, she'll talk big, but she'll flee at the first sign of trouble. So that's the kind of character who's really annoying. Talking to her, she thinks she's better than you. The easiest way to get her to do something is to talk to her in a way... that instead of asking her to do it because you feed her ego, you have to convince her that it's like basically in her best interest to do it. Either by stroking her ego, you know, just like gassing her up. This is Aku's words. She's manipulatable in that sense. You just gotta convince her. But also, you can't really mince words with her because if you don't show backbone when talking with her, she'll walk all over you. She'll flaunt her position. A rat through and through. So, I agree that she has a very strong element to her, but I don't think that one element is stronger than Momiji's general abilities. I think Momiji is very reliable in a lot of different capacities. Whereas Nazrin would find water for herself and you'd have to follow her so you know where it is. And then she would just complain. She would just complain and bitch and whine and moan. And then you'd never be able to do anything. She wouldn't do anything. She'd only do things in her own interest. That's the problem. There's no team in Nazrin. Alright? There's an I in Nazrin. There's no team in Nazrin. That's an inanimate object. Mystia and Orin. What if you gave her cheese? Where are you getting cheese on this island? Okay, so let's start with Mystia. Mystia, definitely a great conversationalist, also a great cook, and has experience with catching fish, but only out of a river, not so much the ocean. But maybe those skills still apply. But I think she wouldn't be too bad. She would try, but I don't think she'd be the most helpful thing in the world. But at the very least, her presence would be a lot nicer to have around than others, assuming her songs don't make you go, like, blind. Right. Uber loud, uber loud. No. I would appreciate her presence. I mean, John would appreciate her presence. And again, she can cook. Get her a fire, she can cook. And then you have Orin. So, Orin is employed. Orin is good at transporting things. Orin is a good conversationalist. She's quite popular in the underworld. So she, you know, you could probably engage in some merriment with her. Also, she would probably steal your corpse. The problem is, I don't think Orin does much of anything specific. I think she's another one of those characters who's just, like, you could probably depend on her to help in a few different places, but she's not really a specialist in any of them. You have a hauler with 2 units? What? Is that some kind of reference I don't get? Orin could also turn into a cat. So she would save up space, and you wouldn't need to build her another shelter. Mystia would sleep in a tree, so you wouldn't need to build her a shelter either. So both of them have that going for them. So, I don't think Orin is necessarily bad, but I don't think Orin has anything that stands out. Cats are great hunters. Okay, yeah. Sure. But that depends on what they're hunting. I don't even know what you find at a tropical island in terms of, like, meat. I assume boars. Birds, yeah, there's birds. You wouldn't be able to eat birds with Mystia. But Mystia would grill you up a good-ass fish. So you can get some of that, you can get that good-ass fish from Mystia. And Mystia would cook other meats, but you couldn't eat bird. I don't know if I'd want to eat a seagull, though. I can't imagine a seagull would be good. Yeah, crabs. Yeah, you could get a crab, too. You could eat crabs. You could eat all kinds of things. Mystia can cook like anything, dude. She's got a fucking recipe in her for everything. So you can catch anything, and you'll have a real dish made by her. Orin could catch a bird, but then she'd just fucking bring it to she'd just bring it to you half dead in her mouth, and then just look at you like you're supposed to do something with it. I don't know what to do with a fucking half dead bird. What do you want me to do? Cook it? No, we gotta pull the feathers off, man. So I can't, I can't partake in those activities. So Orin is okay, but I think Mystia wins out by a large margin. Okay, so let's assume here for a second that Shimmy doesn't have the mallet and she's her original size. And that's all you need to say, really. That immediately spells out why you're not bringing her. What would Shimmy do at her original size on a deserted island? What would she do? She can fish. She can stab a hermit crab. That's it. There's nothing she would be able to do. However, she would be extremely easy to look after because the amount of food she'd need is minuscule. So you'd effectively be alone in all of your work, but you'd only really need to work for one person anyway because her portion sizes would be so small that it wouldn't matter that much. So I think she's not the worst choice in the world. She's not an active deterrent or like a hindrance. Sure, she's not helpful in any regard, but she, at the very least, doesn't negatively affect you, like, unless you count like a small little portion that you put aside for her as a detriment to your survival, which I don't. And you know, I'm sure she's fun to talk to. Maybe. I don't know how hard you'd have to listen to hear her if she's that small. Maybe she can talk really loud. It's like the whitewater rafting. You know, the rafting she did with Wagasaki. How they were a team, but all she did was stand on Wagasaki's head. Yeah, basically, she's... If you had to choose between her and somebody who actively is a detriment, you'd pick her. But there's no any character with merit you wouldn't. And then we talked about Takane before, I believe. But like Nitori, Kappa, but Kappa more orientated with land-based stuff. So, and obviously, you know, same ideas as Kappa, good builders, all that kind of stuff. Probably more savvy with stuff you'd find on land than just with metal, but I don't know for sure about that. Yamawara are kind of unexplored right now. It'd be nice to see more of them. All I know is they like airsoft, and they like playing airsoft battles, so they're neat. But I think Takane is probably a good choice. I assume the Yamawara are as friendly with humans as the Kappa are, since they're a type of Kappa. But I don't know that for sure. But she's, you know, she is a good choice through and through. Can she cook? Who knows? But even if you take that and put it in aside, like, she still has other strong merits to her. So, like, most of the mountain folk are pretty good in general for that because they're so well geared towards wilderness survival. Sure, the idea changes from mountain and island, but there are some general carryovers at the very least. So, definitely Takane. And, okay, so remember what we talked about 5 seconds ago about how Shimmy is the choice you take when the other choice is actively going to get you fucked? This one. This character right here. I remember we talked about her already. Her advice, if you listen to her, you will survive, but then you will pay all of that back at some point in your life, because all of her, everything she gives you only leads to your ruin. That's how this yokai works. They provide great fortunes and blessings to their masters, but then inevitably they always are met with their own, like, destruction. And then they fuck off. They feed on this. So listening to Tsukasa is a good way to survive, but then become nothing afterwards. Or if you're not very lucky, then you cease to be before you've served your time on the island. So yeah, she's not a good idea. Any help she provides it's leading to your destruction. So I would definitely prefer Shimmy. Okay, so Orange is not a character. And Orange, as far as a character goes, would I guess she's a girl. That's it. And Eden. Okay, so despite everything that you may want to say about Eden and how not like super conversational she'd probably be decent. She can probably make small talk. But it's hard to ignore, A, she's skilled with a bow and arrow, so automatically she's good at hunting. B, she's the greatest pharmacist in the entirety of Touhou's universe. So, what else do I need to say about that? 3, you probably wouldn't have to build her own shelter. She'd probably even build it herself because she's just that fucking smart. In fact, you're not surviving with her. She is surviving despite you. That's what Eden's doing. You, John, are Eden's liability. She has to survive and drag you along so you don't fucking die and ruin everything for her. That's Eden. That's how you know she's good. When John is the weak link here. So yeah, Eden is 100% a top pick because she can 1000% carry you. Like, she would be able to handle everything herself because she is Yakogoro Eden. She's the greatest. Futo and Ringo. Alright. So, Futo is great at starting fires. And she can manipulate feng shui, whatever that means. And I don't really know what else she does. I actually don't really know how far her other skills go. All I know is that she's really good at starting fires. She's like a good luck charm. An itty bitty creature. She's probably fun to talk to. She's a goofball. You probably hear all kinds of stories. I don't know if she'd care much about different shelters. She probably wouldn't pay it much mind. She would probably see herself as someone higher than you. But I don't really know. I don't really think Futo is that kind of character though, where she views herself as a superior being to others. Not like Tenchi or something like that. But maybe she would just not, like, she wouldn't care because she does consider her position as Shikai-sen as something greater than a human. Even if she's not, like, in your face about it. Maybe there's an ego, a little bit of ego in there. Possibly. Hard to say. But yeah, she would start fires. And Ringo. So, Ringo was a soldier. We talked about this earlier with the other bunnies, but military training, stuff like that. Pretty extreme difference from the moon to an island at the very least, but like there's still something there. The thing is, Ringo's ability is she gets stronger when she eats Dango, but I don't think she can just produce Dango. I think she has to actually make it, and I don't know how to make Dango. I don't know if she'd be able to do that on a deserted island. In fact, she seems like the type of character who would eat more than her share every day. So she would drain food fast. And because her strength comes from Dango, she would never get a power-up. Now, Ringo's always struck me as a chill character, and her role in the Lunarian Corps was intelligence gathering. So she's good at collecting data, you know, doing recon and stuff like that. So she would be great at kind of figuring out what's going on, like what's available on the island. But I feel like the cost of that is that she would eat more than her fair share. But she is at least, like, she is still, like, battle trained, so she's not a snob or anything like that. She'd be helpful. She'd just be kind of high cost. Say it like that. She'd be high cost in the food department, but the trade-off is you'd have a lot of information. She'd be good at that. She'd probably be okay as a conversational partner. I don't know if she might care about sharing a shelter. I don't really know. Like I said, she seems kind of chill about everything, so maybe she won't care at all. So, generally speaking, she's okay. But I think her negative is a little high here. I don't know if her appetite is worth the information. Because information doesn't necessarily equate to, you know, success, I guess. Just because you know something doesn't mean you can do anything with that information, right? Like, What if Ringo came to you and was like, hey, a 40-foot bear is approaching our shelter? Like, sure, you have that information. You can leave now. But what do you, like, you're not going to be able to do anything about that. Now you just know it's coming earlier. But if it's 40 foot and it's walking towards your shelter, you'd probably hear that shit prior to her warning. So you get the fuck out of there anyway. There's not much you can really even do. Draw a circle. Yeah, exactly. Draw a circle in the sand. You'll be okay. Point is, sometimes her information is not, like, helpful. But I'm sure that the amount of information she could get would be quite valuable overall. It's hard to say, though. Because you really just got to create a hypothetical here of what kind of information she could find. And how useful it is compared to what is arguably one of the larger appetites you'll have to deal with for characters. Obviously, it's not like fucking Yuma or Yuyuko or even Ruma, but Ringo definitely strikes me as a big eater. If only because her power requires her to eat dongo, so she probably eats a lot of dongo. Maybe she just has a special stomach where when she eats dongo, it just like fucking evaporates into her bloodstream. It's not really food to her so much as it's just like a power-up. I don't know. But I think if I had to pick, chat, if I had to pick, I think I'd go with Futo, personally. Now, there's an argument to be made for both of these, for sure. But I think Futo is the choice here. Just because Futo has, maybe Ringo has better highs, but Futo doesn't really have a negative like Ringo does. But it's not like Futo is, like, useless anywhere. She's probably pretty okay at everything. And she can also set fires, you know, to the rain. Watch it burns. All the way. So, Yukari. So, we didn't get Yukari yet. But Yukari is the main reason that this turned into not escaping and surviving, because this character can just, you know, leave at any moment. She can just leave. See ya. But the important question of her power comes from this. If she gaps something to her, does that gap count as her leaving the island? How does that work? Like, what if she just gaps to her house and pulls out a bag of chips and starts eating it there? She clearly didn't get that from the island. So all of her like food needs that she's just pulling from fucking elsewhere. That's cheating. She can't cheat like that. But what does she do otherwise? Her gap stuff is obviously very helpful. Did we have her last time? Because we let Shinky fucking create something out of like nothing. We let her cheat. Okay, well, if Yukari could gap anywhere on the island, that's still really good. But I don't know if she cooks or anything. I don't really know what she does. She has people for that. Like, everything that you'd expect, she has people for that. Well, person, I suppose. She has Ron. Ron does everything for her. Ron cooks for her, cleans for her, dresses her, puts her to bed, the fucking everything. Actually, that's the only thing Yukari does on her own, is fucking go to sleep. Amazing. I think she would be helpful in one regard, but she also seems like a massive pain in the ass because she wouldn't be very helpful in anything else. But she can gather from like she can just sit down and open holes in the fabric of reality and just pull shit out and be like, here you go, here you go, here you go. You just, you know, just grab a fish. Put a gap in the water. Literally put a gap in the water and just have the gap outside. And if a fish swims through it, congratulations, you got dinner. Like, there you go. It's that easy. I don't think there's any rule on how big her gaps can be, right? Because obviously her gaps can be as big as her, because she can fit through them. And assuming her height is probably like close to 5'10" minimum, like those are some pretty fucking big gaps when you think about it. So if something just like, if a fish just like swam through it and went, you know, there you go, there's dinner. Yeah, she could fit a fucking train through them. Like, I forgot about that entirely. Yeah, one of her supers is she calls a fucking train through the gap. Her gaps have no restriction in size, it seems. So she can just open, it's effectively a fishing net with her gap and just catch whatever swims through it. What a cheater. But other than that, what does she do? She eats hot chip and lies. But there's no hot chip on the island. So all she does is lie. She would be awful to talk to. You know she would be so condescending. And she'd make you build a shelter for her. She would not be very fun. I don't think she would be very good. Her job, like, she's basically a tool. Like, she's basically a tool that you have to go and kiss up to have them cooperate. Or you have to feed them. Like, oh, you want to use my fishing rod? Okay, but you have to be nice to me and you have to feed me a portion of what you catch. Instead of just getting a fucking net yourself, you have her. She's your net. So, her downsides, gotta give it to Rego. Aya and Moco. Okay. So Aya is really fast, and she's also a great conversationalist. She's also very nosy. And lives on the mountain. Can she start a fire? I don't know. Can she cook? I don't know. Can she build? I don't know. Would she care if she shared a room with you? I don't know. I have to assume not. Nothing seems to really shake Aya up. She's pretty impenetrable in that way. There's too many unknowns with her though. Moco? Now Moco is used to living off the land because she's lived alone away from people for so long. So she's great at that. She's probably pretty helpful. Just because she built her, I assume she built her own house. I don't know about that for sure. She's chill. I don't know how great a conversation she is. She's the kind of person who prefers to let the other person talk. But, you know, maybe if you get to know her, maybe she'll talk some more. However, the only potential negative is she's kind of depressing. That's really it. Now, I know she's immortal. The thing about Moco is that Moco still gets hungry and stuff. So, like, Moco still has the restrictions that John has. But it's just, Moco will never die from them. But that's kind of inhumane. Like, oh, Moco doesn't have to eat, so you don't have to feed Moco. Moco doesn't need a roof over her head because even if she just fucking dies of natural causes outside, she'll just come back better than ever. That's inhumane. No matter how they die, they will always come back. But that doesn't really, I don't think that really gives anyone the right to just basically treat her like a fucking, you know, like nothing. Like dirt. Because she'll just never die, because she feels the pain. Also, she can start fires, so that's helpful. So yeah, I don't like the idea of like, okay, you don't have to feed her, you don't have to do anything with her. She just exists, and no matter what happens to her, she'll just come back anyway. But if she, I think, oh, you know what? Let's change the rules, chat. Let's adjust the rules. So even though she comes back to life if she dies, if somebody dies, you lose. Even though she comes back. So you're incentivized to not let her die. And she's incentivized to not just forego basic needs. So she, you know, she has to eat and sleep and whatnot to not die. And that makes sense to me, because otherwise, Otherwise, some absolute fucking, like, jackass will be like, no, streamer, you can just leave her out in the sun to dry, and when you wake up the next day, you'll find a fucking corpse, and it will just get up and be like, damn, rough night. And you gotta do that every night, and then she just won't eat. But at the same time, it's not like you have the power to stop her from doing that, right? If it's a matter of her doing it herself, then fuck, man. But if you think that you are gonna be able to stop her from eating food, she's gonna roast you. She'll fucking roast you, dude. She would want me to do it. What do you know? Huh? All you know is how to post that stupid fucking emote. That's all you know. You don't know anything about this character. Everything you know about this character comes from stupid emotes. They are not representative of this character at all. But I think this Mario Party ass music. What the fuck? Watatsuki Bunnyland grand opening. This sounds like music straight from Mario Party 2. Okay, so to recap, Moco, generally speaking, has lived off the land for a long time, understands the needs, you know, human needs, can be very helpful, start fires, probably okay to talk to. Aya, probably not the most fun to talk to if you don't have anything interesting to give her. And unfortunately, every other aspect of her is kind of an unknown, because her role in pretty much every work is her being a reporter first and foremost, than her being Aya Shimemaru. You know what I mean? So the length of Aya's character, like the length of the character that's been explored is actually pretty small. It focuses more on her job 99% of the time, but we've never really seen Aya in situations outside of what her job requires her to do. We do know that she's rather she holds back her true power. She doesn't like the idea of strong-arming people for interviews because it influences the article in her favor because they're afraid of her, and that's not good journalism. Which is funny that she thinks that, because she also has a reputation of her, you know, spreading lies, filling in her half-truths. To some extent, that's true, but I think it's neat that she doesn't want to manipulate anyone to give her the answers she wants, but then she manipulates her own answers anyway to better suit an interesting article. So she's kind of an asshole, but it's fine because she's great. Oh. Loud, aren't you? So, Aya, I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt and say that she's not a negative in any way, but it's unknown how good she would be, aside from the fact that she lives on the mountain and she's lived for a long time. In which case, I would give her a thumbs up, but not like 2 thumbs up, you know? I would trust Moco in this one. Ellen and Minariko. So, I'm pretty sure we established last time that Ellen is just gonna be like nothing more than like someone to talk to. Minariko, on the other hand, is a harvest goddess who's very friendly with people. So she's great with the earth. And if you actually try to grow your own stuff, she'll be perfect for it. So Minariko is great for food, great for conversation. I don't really know what else, but what else could you really need? Stop harvesting. There's no harvest. You gotta make your own. You gotta make your own, okay? What would she even plant on a deserted island? Like what kind of fruits and vegetables could you find on a deserted island to plant, cultivate, and create your own little farm for? And how long would it take for them to grow? Can she speed up the growth of things, or does she just make it like what does she do? Banana, coconut, mango. Okay. Those all sound great. Fantastic. I love banana, coconut, mango. Fine sweet potatoes. Either way, Minariko is definitely the better of these two. Alright, so. Fire Child over here can set a fire. And she's got an excited personality. She's probably pretty cool. And then the not a phase mom child over here is probably not a good idea. Probably not a very good idea. Now, here's the issue. Let's assume the reward is something that Seiya actually wants. That's why she's participating. So, she's still gonna fuck with you. But she's not going to throw the match, right? She's not gonna throw for content. But she is gonna fuck with you. But in that case, what can she actually do? What is it that she can do? Outside of her turning shit. Like, what does turning shit do? If anything, she just seems like a really annoying person to deal with, who can't actually provide any useful, anything useful. She can't cook. She can't hunt. She can't build. She's not very strong. She can't do anything of that. She seems like an awful conversationalist. And she'd just be annoying as shit. Now, maybe my bias is coming out a little bit here, but genuinely, I don't think Seiya can do anything for herself. Like, at all. I don't think she can do anything for herself. She can survive on the run. Yeah, she can eat the bugs. But how long was she running away in Impossible Spell Card? A week? She ran away for like a week, right? Or like a week and a half or something. It was 10 days. And then everybody just fucked off. I don't know what she's doing now, but she still exists against Sokyo. Because, she shows up in the Grimoire of Usami, and she literally just walks up to the judges' table. Now, here's the funny thing about that. Seiya's got a bounty put on her head, and everybody went out to try and stop her. And then Grimoire of Usami's like, hey, guess what? We're taking over your show. And the judges are like, what? And then fucking Yukari and Okina walk into view. And Okina's like, yeah, I liked your plan, so I helped out a little bit. And Yukari and Seiya are just fucking chill about the whole situation. They're just like next to each other. They're like 5 feet away from each other. Seiya, like, Gensokyo's most wanted criminal. And then boss Gensokyo herself. And they're just there, and they're just having a good time. And it's just like, okay, I guess the bounty's off. No one cares anymore. She served her fucking time. Like, what happened to that? So what the fuck is she doing? They're just cool now, man. So her whole on-the-run experience didn't even last 2 weeks. She just, I don't know. She never surrendered. She won. If the game being beaten is to be believing, then she got away from everyone. Nobody collected the bounty on her, and I guess Yukari was just like, alright, fine, fuck it, and just called it off, and then no one cared, the end. Like, seriously. It's, I don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't call 10 days of on the run survival experience. She probably licked a rock and was like, yuck. That's why her tongue's out. Yucky. But then she just she probably just stole actual food from other people, right? Like, she didn't actually live on the wilderness or anything. She just fucking used her cheat items to sneak around and steal, like, actual stuff from other people. But she can't do that on an island. She had to find it herself. So anyway, she's terrible. Yumemi is smart, and that's about all she really has going for her. I assume she'd be helpful, at the very least more helpful than Seija. Yugi and Yumiko. So, Yugi is pretty cool. I don't think she's better than Yumiko. But Yugi, like Suika, is, you know, she's obviously well geared in physical labor, so that's helpful. She probably has a hearty appetite. She's strong. She doesn't have a source of alcohol. Uh-oh, that's kind of bad. She can punch a tree and get wood. Actually, she's like Steven. I don't know, I'd actually call her worse Suika. Just because Suika can multitask with herself, but Yugi's one person. Yugi's main claim to fame comes from her raw strength. So, that's really it. But if you needed just strength, like, Suika's great. Suika's better, and then Suika can also multitask with her little fuckers. But, who knows? But I still don't think she's better than Yumiko anyway, because Yumiko, same deal as Sakuya. Tasked with succeeding, she's going to succeed. And she's very capable at taking care of others, even in a hostile environment. Of course, maybe Shinki's palace is nice and prim and proper. Who knows? But I think her general skills in such an environment would be on par with Sakuya's, at the very least. I mean, it's a maid. Maids are always good. Well, speaking of maids... Okay, so I think we established before with Meira that all she would do is... She wouldn't really do anything. Like, this character isn't really a character, and trying to figure out what kind of thing she would do is not helpful. She would swing her sword, and she would make comments that are kind of mean-spirited. That's all I got. But again, she's another one of those characters that has so little information that literally anything you could possibly say about her is something you made up in your head. And that happens a lot, actually, with these types of things I do. When I get told that character would behave like this because reasons, and then you go to their Wikipedia page and the character has literally one sentence of backstory to them. So yeah, if that one sentence can give you 99% of a character's personality in every situation possible, then sure. But PC98 characters don't have that. And a lot of people forget that, and they just start inserting their own beliefs in how the characters operate. And they make the character their own. They basically turn a Touhou character into their own OC. That's kind of what happens, I find. They insert their own character into an already established, like, mold. It's like how Keiki puts human spirits in her Haniwa soldiers. That's how it is. You take this husk that is a PC98 character, you take your OC, and you put it inside, and you pretend that this official character operates just like your OC does. And then you become the leading expert on this official character, who's not actually a character at all. And then bonus points if you're extremely obnoxious about it. Absolute bonus points on that. The nice thing about PC98 characters is that you can kind of make shit up because there's not really a character there to begin with. It's more so when people try to argue, like, the character would do this because I think they would. It's not a very strong opinion when you're discussing canon. That's all. Like I said, I've had comments before on these types of videos that insisted on how characters would act based on, like, fucking zero information. My own opinion on a character with no actual background is wrong. So, you know. The moral of the story is, chat, is to don't let others ruin your fun. But also, just ignore people like that. Just ignore people like that. They're just gonna make you annoyed. They're gonna upset you. I don't want to hear the leading expert's opinion on Touhou character. I don't want to hear it. This is my favorite character. Here's a 200-page essay on why this is blatant mischaracterization. That there, right there, that's the Touhou police. You hear them? They're coming right now. I said it before, chat, but I think it's funny how 99% of the time the people who complain about mischaracterization of a character are infamous for it. They mischaracterize a character all over the fucking place. But it's okay because it's how they view the character. But if somebody else does it, nope, the character wouldn't do that because I said so. And me, I'm the leading authority. If you even so much as think about my character incorrectly, I will be at your door, knocking. Hello? You in there? Come on out. You said some wrong things about my favorite fictional character. We need to have a nice long talk. Come out right now. Okay, I'm gonna click Yugi now. Kikuri is a moon. That's all I got for you. She would simply exist. Is she huge? Yes. Ellie. Ellie is a gatekeeper, clumsy, kind of strange, but probably not a bad kid. So, would she be helpful? More than a moon. But would she be that helpful? Not really. The moon is not right. Kikuri is unknown. It's not even really known if Kikuri can move. Or if it's just like the girl in the moon is like sculpted out, you know? But don't tell anyone I said that because somebody will get mad at me again. You know what, chat? Just to prove it right now, I'm gonna Google it. I'm gonna Google Kikuri Touhou. Kikuri Touhou. There you go. Kikuri is a large bronze disc with an image of a girl on it that Reimu Hakurei and E-counters. E-counters. She E-counters her in Hell's Rotting World of Flames. Kikuri is the stage 15 boss on the Hell route of highly responsive to prayers. However, since she has no profile and no dialogue exchange with Reimu, nothing much is known about this enemy. Nothing. Nothing. There is no info on this character. No official info on this character. Nothing but a name. So, I don't want to fucking hear it. Streamer, no, she's like this. Streamer, no, she's like that. No. She's like that in your head, not in reality. Thank you, Ultimo, for the resub. She's based on a goddess, so that means she does everything that goddess does. How do you know? Streamer making up people to be mad at it again. I am! What was that? That was my win. Okay, so when I hover over my windows, it makes them fade away. So I hovered over the chat window and it showed my background, which is Sakuya. I don't actually know if that shows on the recording. I can't see it, but I assume it did. Anyway, I'm clicking Ellie. Alice and Narumi. So, my biases made me pick Alice last time, for sure. But I still think she's a good choice. Narumi, on the other hand, I don't really know much about Narumi outside of that she was, you know. What does Narumi do, exactly? Can she cook? Can she build? Can she find food? I don't know if she can find food, because usually food is just left at her feet. Like, I don't really know how helpful she would be. Especially compared to Alice, like, who could still do something. This is Sonic music. This is 1000% Sonic music. Well, it's from Kubanashi. She controls life force? What does that mean? She can stand perfectly still. Okay. But she needs to eat, right? I still think the answer is Alice. And even if you put my biases aside, I think it's still Alice. It's because Narumi does not have as much really divulged on how she operates in her daily life, but we've seen a lot of Alice's daily life in bits and pieces throughout the years she's been around, including but not limited to the fact that she is in a coma and she is going to wake up soon because CDS is going to end at some point this year for sure, and Alice will finally wake up. It'll be nice. I'm waiting for it, that moment. Seidan. So again, Seidan, we talked about her as well, but general usefulness, soldier training, maybe a little stuck up, maybe a little bit, but ultimately, not a bad choice. And I think there's more you can say that you know for sure she'd be helpful with than Narumi. Okay, Michael and Shimada. Alright, so Michael, as you know, chat, Michael's whole deal is that she is half of a Maneki-Neko. And because of that, she's only capable of doing one of the two things Maneki-Nekos are known for. Maneki-Neko are known to draw in customers and produce, fortune. What the fuck is this music? Unknown music. Simply unknown. So Michael, yeah, Maneki-Neko they beckon customers in, and they're good for making a fortune. But Michael is only good at one of those things. She can get customers in, but she can't produce money out of it. Or she can produce money out of it, but she also can't because she can't bring customers in. She can't do it. She's half of the equation. So Michael is unfortunate. She has a hard life, man. She has a really hard life, but she's also a cat. Now Shimada, on the other hand, Shimada, I imagine, would do something similar to those mobile game ads you see. You know those mobile games you see, chat, where it's like they're just doing whatever and then zombies run at them and then they like jump in a manhole and then they build an entire underground complex? That's what Shimada would do. Shimada would be like, oh no! And then just like dig a hole in the sand and then infinite craft her way into a fallout shelter under the island. And it'd be great because then she can conduct all kinds of business in there. She's really good at, it's all part of the marketing scheme. Because zombies can't swim, but then swimming zombies happen, so you have to build your entire underwater, under-island base and cultivate your own food up with the seeds that you definitely have. You ever think about it? I never played one of those mobile games, chat, but you ever think about how those, that works? You ever think about how all that actually works and how it doesn't? I don't get it. She is level 100 boss. This is how Mafia works. See, Shimada is god of the marketplace. Her markets require actual human interaction. Like a shopping district. Not this crypto nonsense. She's a physical marketeer. She likes, you gotta actually hand her the money and shake her hand on a deal. You can't just send her an email that says, "Dear to whom it may concern," and then she talks about Bitcoin, but she doesn't talk about Bitcoin. Shimada will probably never touch anything related to digital currency, and it kind of sucks when she gets involved in modern shenanigans for the markets, when the whole point of her was that she was losing her power because all of the open range market stuff of actual human interaction was dying out as an art. It was all becoming electronic. She got her powers back because the whole card business took off. And then when she got her power back, she ditched Megamove, totally eat dick. And then you run into her and she's doing this goofy ass pose. What? But aside from that, like, there's nothing she really does. You're not conducting business on a deserted island. Like, she just has, like, she has a lot of zippers, but I don't really understand what those zippers do. Her outfit is really stupid. It's really stupid. It's just full of fucking zippers. There's no business on the island. I don't know what she would do. To be honest, I don't know much about Shimada at all, and Shimada hasn't really done a whole lot either. But her design is very memorable, I find. Both in her outfit, her pose. Like, there's a lot of memorability to her overall design, which I like. And I mean, I like her design. I called her Blue Yumemi when I first saw her. And that stupid pose that she does, it's so goofy that it's so memorable. I like her, but I don't know really much about her, so it's hard to really say much about her. So, between Shimada and Michael's abilities, or her hindrances, are limited strictly to her ability as being a Maneki Neko. So, I think having a cat is better than having a god. Because, well, simply because her abilities don't matter in the context of an island. Neither of them do. But the strengths of Shimada come from her ability, whereas the strengths of Michael's don't really apply there. She's still a cat, so she's probably okay at cat-like things. And who doesn't love cats? She's probably fun to talk to. Shimada, I don't know if you want to talk to her. If you fucking, it's 8 p.m., you got marshmallows on an open fire, you're sitting there, you're getting your s'mores ready, and Shimada's there. What do you talk about with her? Huh? What exactly do you, what is small talk to her? She's gonna tell you about a fucking pyramid scheme. She's gonna explain the concept of a pyramid scheme, a back-end deal, all this bullshit. She's gonna talk about the black market. I'm just trying to eat my marshmallows, man. I don't care. We're on a deserted island. Who cares about the state of the economy right now? I don't want to hear it. I'm eating marshmallows. There's no business going on at all. Stupid little bastard. Okay, so this one's great because Renko is fine. Koishi is an absolute fucking unknown. Just a straight up unknown. In every sense of the word. Where is she? Where does she go? What is she doing? Is she like looking for food? Did she find food? Did she eat it without me? Who even is she? Did I just imagine a person was with me? Am I alone? You would probably, like, Koishi is the equivalent of going mad when you're on a deserted island. You know that movie with, what was it, Tom Hanks? I don't know his name. You know the movie with the fucking volleyball with the face on it? Koishi is the actual equivalent to that. You would actually question your sanity because you feel like you were talking to someone, but you wouldn't remember Koishi was there. But you're alone on the island, but you're not, and then you get paranoid, and then you go full schizo. It's just not good, man. It's not good. I think she's a quick way to go insane, because you'll forget that you're even like with her as fast as you'll see her. That's her whole shtick, is that she can just when you exit the conversation with her, you just kind of forget about her existence. It's hard to remember her. I guess if you get used to her, maybe, but I think in the context of a deserted island, you're probably gonna go fucking insane. So she wouldn't even mean any harm by it, I don't think, but she's just dangerous. She's actually legitimately a hazard to your mental health. Because you're like you'll build and do everything for two. You won't know why you're doing it for two until she shows up. And then it's just like, then you just kind of question why. She'll drive you insane by accident, which is kind of just a travesty, but not too unbelievable for the character. I don't know. But if I had to guess, Gengetsu is not gonna drive you like mentally insane like Koishi is. But Gengetsu is another one of those characters who is not actually a character, so I gotta assume that she will probably be a little more less dangerous. Well, I mean, physically she's more dangerous maybe, but Koishi is just like, Koishi's not good for the mental. PMA, you can't have that. Positive mental attitude, Koishi decays at it. She's like a fucking rot. And Oko and Yomu. I don't remember Yomu popping up before. Okay. So, Enoko is puppy. Is she good at hunting? Sure. She's been living in the forest of magic all her life. She's got bear traps. I mean, like, that right there is hunter's equipment. She also, I don't think she takes them off, which is cause for concern. This is the, like, holding hands is not supposed to be a life or death action. Just saying. Because it seems like if Enoko gets tense, her hands clamp down. And if you touch her hand and it clamps down, uh-oh. Uh-oh. So Enoko is great, but I really hope that those bear traps are removable. I hope that she does take them off from time to time. But other than that, she's effectively a wolf. So great hunter, got hunter's tools, long-lived, familiar with a forest, and she's puppy. And everybody knows that man's best friend is puppy. Just don't touch her, I guess. Now, I don't think she'd mind having her sharing a shelter, but if she sleeps with those bear traps on, then that's a whole different problem we need to worry about. The bear traps are weird, but they're funny. Alright, and then we have Yomu. So as you know, Yomu is Yomu. She does a lot for Yiko. She's a gardener. She goes to that whole fucking, like, garden every day. She's a great cook. She has to be. Is she a survivalist? That I'm not really sure about. But I assume she'd be pretty decent. She wouldn't be a complainer, that's for sure. She would hold her own. She's strong. She's capable. She'd probably be fun to talk to. I think there's a lot of things that Yomu would be good at. She's not really a maid per se, but she effectively does the same as Sakuya. Albeit, she probably does more. She's probably a better cook than Sakuya. Or maybe not even a better cook, but at the very least she's better at just like cooking more. Because she needs to. Hard to say for sure who's better at what. But I think Yomu is just a strong choice overall. I don't think there's a single negative aspect to Yomu. The only negative is that if Island's haunted, then she might be too spooked to do anything. But that's okay because that's when John has to rise to the occasion to protect the ghost lady from the ghost girls. Yomu can do a lot of things. I want to believe that even if Yomu is not inherently good at something, she would still at least be able to help with everything. There's nothing she'd really be bad at, just based on her life as servitude. That makes it sound kind of bad, though. I mean, you get what I mean. She's experienced in a lot of different fields. So I would trust her. But would you trust her more than Puppy? Would you trust her more? I would. Because I've known Yomu longer than Enoko. There's a lot more to know about Yomu, and I think there's more that can be trusted based on past experiences that we've seen of her. Keiki and Benben. Benben can play a song The end. Now, Keiki, shit. Chat, I don't remember. We talked about Keiki before, but what did we rule on for her sculpting abilities? Did we rule that she can sculpt, like, things that work? Or are they just, like, limited to cosmetic? I don't remember what we established on there. What is this piano rendition to this song, dude? It feels really out of place. I hate this menu theme. Hate it. Okay. No, I don't remember. Yeah, she can make tools and stuff. I can't remember what we decided on Haniwa soldiers, though. If they're okay to move on their own, or if they need human souls to pilot them. Either way, she's good at crafting. That's her whole thing. So she'd be helpful. She'd be a lot more helpful than Ben, who just plays song. There's enough characters. Speaking of, so chat, this right here, I think is 100% personal preference. Do you like listening to a string instrument, or do you like listening to a keyboard? That's your options here. Which instrument do you like more? Now, Ben's probably the calmer of the two. She's a lot more chill. Lyrica is probably a little more peppy. Not super peppy like Merlin, but more average, I suppose. But she can play her music and you won't have to worry about being affected mood-wise. Me personally, I would say Lyrica would be more enjoyable to listen to. Saki and Sada. Well, what does Saki do? She can kick things. She's definitely a hunter. That much is for sure. 100% a hunter. Very strong to boot. She would only be a fun conversationalist if she actually thinks you're pretty cool. If she thinks you're a weak-willed, snot-nosed motherfucker, then you're a liability to her. So, yeah. She can play Minecraft with her feet. That's what she can do. Sara, on the other hand, is just a person who's protecting the entrance to Makai. And her abilities, which I guess have something to do with fire and fighting, according to Puppet Play. That's all I got. That's it. But Saki is a horse. A hort with a big attitude. But again, if you just prove that you are someone who is kind of like, you know, just prove you got some strength. And she is. And you're good to go. She requires elbow grease. I think what it is, I think what it is just getting her to cooperate. It would take some time. She would probably leave you high and dry otherwise. But not to an extent where you die, but she would keep you alive to the bare minimum for the sake of the reward. But unless you can actually prove that you're someone worth respecting, then you're just not gonna have a good time with her at all. So she's risky. She is very risky. But the positives are definitely there if you have a mutual respect. Or earn her respect, I guess. Because even though, like, nothing is more important to Saki than strength. So much so that she respects anyone with strength, even her enemies. Keiki and Yashie, for example. Despite how she does not get along with them, she still respects their strength. So she's that kind of character. She is a musclehead through and through. Just why she's the boss of the wolves. And again, Sara is just kind of like a character. John will win her respect. I believe in John. I do believe in John. Alright, so Rikako is just a person who likes science. So if you throw her out in the wilderness, she would be pretty helpless. That's all I got for her. And Kutaka, sore throat, no thrusty pain for the entire time. And honestly, that right there is just an automatic high. Other than that, like, she seems nice. She wouldn't want you to eat birds, but that's okay. That's okay. I wouldn't want to eat birds either. I think it'd be pretty chill. I think she'd be pretty chill. Mima. Ah, yes. The active problem. Ecology is science. Let me ask you something, dumbass. If you read a book on how to build a house, and then you build a house, you gonna build a house perfectly? What about a carpenter? You think a carpenter just built a house on his first try? You think he didn't try to build a million fucking things out before that? Until he got to the point where you can build a house? Don't even bother answering. Every time you type, it's just a waste of fucking time anyway. Don't waste your energy, man. Keep those fingers glued to your side or something. Alright, Kane and Murasa. So, I'm pretty sure both of these two showed up before. Kane is a teacher. And once a month, she grows horns. Murasa. 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 I don't remember if I had her before. She's got a ladle with a broken bottom. So that's good. She's got an anchor. So that's cool. She can pilot a ship that doesn't exist. So that's cool. Can she cook? Can she build? Can she gather? Can she hunt? She can talk. That's great. There you go. She can talk. Good. Good. There you go. Murasa can talk. Alright, let's go back to Kane for a second here. Let's go back to Kane here for a second. So, Kane is smart. She's a smart lady. She's friendly to humans. She's genuinely pretty helpful. I'm pretty convinced that she can clean, cook, all the classic household chorino. But that's just me, that's just me assuming, because she seems like the kind of lady who's just very capable of everything she does. Aside from that, I don't know, I guess she's just kind of like, similar to Byakuren, really, where I would assume that she's just, there's a lot she's capable of, even if it's not through personal experience. Oh, so it's fine for you to assume, huh, streamer? But I've been doing so much assuming. But I do nothing but assuming. And it's not just me. Okay, listen. If you look at Kane and I told you, if somebody showed you a picture of Kane and said this character can definitely cook good food and is generally a likable human being, would you assume yes, or would you assume no? What would you assume based on what we know about her? Do you think she just can't cook for shit? But why would you assume she can't cook for shit? Huh? I feel like when a character's bad at cooking, that aspect of them gets played up in some capacity. So I don't think Kane would be bad at cooking at all. I think it'd be fine. Well, you get EX form for like 6 hours once a month. Even then, I'm sure it's fine. She gets a little hot-headed, but it's not like she completely loses all reasoning or anything like that. Either way, I'm going to assume, much like Byakuren, that she is just a capable lady. I think that's the best I can give her. Compared to Murasa, especially compared to Murasa, because Murasa's really, I don't know. Maybe she'd be okay in some regard, but I don't really think of her as like the most helpful around the office, you know. I think each of them would be a lot more helpful around the temple than her. Oh, goody. Okay. So, that one is obviously a no-go. Flandre is not a good idea. Flandre will never be a good idea. Flandre definitely doesn't cook. Flandre definitely ain't building. Flandre is definitely going to get you to do everything. Or, because if you didn't, then she will crush your balls. And now you may be thinking, streamer, what are you talking about? And the reason for that is because she needs to make something explode on you to really demonstrate her point. But she can't kill you because then she doesn't get the reward. So she has to destroy the part of your body that will not hinder your ability to win for her. Which means she can't take any of your limbs. She can't take your head, which I guess is a limb, maybe. I don't actually know if that counts. And she can't take anything in your torso, which only leaves one part of your body she can actually take. It has to be one of your balls. So she will pop one of your balls if you dare disobey. No, it's fine. You can live with one ball. It's possible to live with one ball. It's okay. No, because like if you pop a kidney, then it's all like all the shit in there that you know you can't. I don't think you can do that. If your kidney just exploded inside of you, I know you can live with one kidney, but I don't know if you can live with all the debris of that kidney sitting in there. Well, I'm just saying, of all the body parts that you could like lose, of all the things in your body you could effectively lose, I think the one that is the least debilitating. Except for like your tonsils or whatever, you know, like, you know, stuff that can come out. But even then, again, you can't really pulp those because they cause all kinds of other complications within you. So if it's one of your ball, if your ball is popped, then, well, it would hurt a lot and you would be half the man you used to be, but you would still be in the game, right? Surely. Now, of course, this is assuming that you go against Flandre. And we're not doing that. Alright? We're not doing that. She could take an eye. Oh yeah, that's true. But John wears a bag over his head, so like he technically doesn't have eyes. So it has to be the ball. Anyway, this would only happen if you try to, you know, this will only happen in a situation where Flan is a jackass and you are not cooperating or working for her. But also, you could just not take her because she's a nightmare. She's a nightmare child in this kind of endeavor. And I don't know about you, chat, but I like my balls whole and okay. Unpopped. Alright. And then we had Snai. So, Snai, Miracles, take some time. That's fine. It's okay for Miracles to take the time. But otherwise, you know, she's probably better than Flandre. That's not a high bar, but it's not a high bar. I don't remember if her Miracles ever give it a time frame. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be extremely anticlimactic with a large wait time for them. But I feel like in a lot of fan stuff, her Miracles are like near instant. But she can produce rain at some point, so there's that. She can produce winds. And she probably has the same, like, just kind of general ability She would be cheery, you know, she'd be a good conversationalist. She wouldn't pop your balls, that's definitely a plus. She seems like the kind of character. Well, actually, I guess it's a popular thing to do with this character is the whole don't let yourself be held back by common sense. So Sanaya is capable of performing outlandish activities in the idea that common sense doesn't apply. So I'm sure she wouldn't really care about sharing a tent or a shelter with old John, because they're just, you know, common sense dictates, you know, one of each. But also at the same time, depending on the severity of the situation, common sense would dictate that you don't do that. But the severity of the situation is not really there because you're not stranded waiting for rescue. You're simply biding your time until you finish, and then you get to leave. So I think that's important. So there you go. Snai is the obvious winner here. Okay, well. Hold on, chat. I need to find something real quick. Perfect. Okay. Say goodbye to your ball. Can't let you see my Google searching. I don't clean my history because it's my computer. And the last thing I need is for you to see anything that I'm up on my search bar. That actually, Chad, that happened before. You can believe it. The evidence is gone. I removed it. But I remember one time I switched over and searched in the tab and a link popped up to something. And I was like, when I saw it in the footage, I was like, oh shit. Gotta cover that one up. So it's gone. The evidence was deleted. No one has it. Nope. It's one of those. What was it? I can't. No. I can tell you what it wasn't. It wasn't my launch codes, but it also kind of was. So that's what I mean by I don't delete my history. So there's links to things that I'd rather you not see. Because I can get in trouble if I am directly linking to stuff like that. No. It's fine. It's fine. I just thought it was funny because it's the only time that ever happened, and I caught it fast, and I was like, well, okay, never ever showing my display capture when I'm doing something outside of the window I'm doing. I've learned that for sure. You can't be doing that. That's why you gotta be careful with display capture. That's why a lot of streamers don't like using it. It's because there's too much you can accidentally show by doing it. Anyway, ball pop, a good time. Alright, well, story is kind of like patchy, but even more useless and definitely more annoying. Now, this sucks to say because I like Satori a lot, but let's not mix this, get this wrong. Like, let's make this fucking clear. She's not helpful in this situation at all alone, and she's definitely gonna drive you nuts with her fucking mind reading. So she is a terrible companion. There's nothing she can help you with. Hogasa, on the other hand, well, she's gonna jump you every day to try and spook you. I don't really know what she's good at. Like, she's a blacksmith, I know, but it's not like she necessarily has a smithery or a smithy, like, at her disposal, you know? She can't just fucking make shit without material and fire. So she'd probably be okay. I think she'd be she'd be a clumsy type of character for sure. She'd be very clumsy, but she would at least try when needed, and you just have to put up with her shenanigans. If you scare her, if she scares you, she gets to eat. So pretending to be scared is a good way to feed her. So then you don't really have to feed her actual food. You can satisfy her stomach by just reacting extremely to her antics. So that right there is already a plus. You only have to feed one mouth. Phenomenal. Okay. Hold on, chat. I have to pee real quick. I'm losing focus. I'll be right back. I'll return in 1 month. Alright, here we go. We're getting back into it. So, Star, I know we talked about her before. Quick recap. Radar ability, great for hunting. Fairy, one with nature. Bit of a shithead though, so you gotta be careful with her. Kokodo. 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 She she can dance. She can spin. And her skill set kind of just doesn't really exist here, huh? I got nothing specific for her at all. Even Raisin. Tojiko and Hina. Okay, so Tojiko is known to have an attitude, which I don't even know if that's true or not, or if that's just something that was given to her by fans. She can set them in lightning, which means she can make fire, which is great. I assume because she's at the Divine Spirit Mausoleum, she takes care of chores like cooking, so she can probably cook. So there's that. And there's not really a negative to her. I mean, she's a ghost. I don't really know what she likes to talk about because she doesn't talk, but And then we have Hina. So Hina would be very friendly. She'd be very helpful, and she would do her best. Unfortunately, Hina just gathers misfortune. around her, and then it spreads to others. So she'll just pass on misfortune to you. Now, the caveat to that is, what misfortune is she gathering at a deserted island? Is she gathering misfortune from, like, the wildlife? Because if she's gathering misfortune from John, it doesn't matter if John gets it back anyway, because it was his to begin with. And it's not like she's gonna accumulate a whole bunch and then just fucking, like, power bomb him with it. So I think as far as Hina's ability goes in a one-on-one situation, like, her negative aspects don't actually matter. The only thing is, I don't know exactly what misfortune means. Because it could mean, like, from people, but it could also just mean, like, shit in general, which doesn't make any sense. General misfortune. Because she's known to kind of avoid humans in the mountain because of her always being, you know, full of misfortune. But, like, how does she get that misfortune if she stays away from people? It just ends up around her anyway. How does it work? How does it work? Nobody knows. Her attitude is very good despite her power, though. I appreciate her. So, okay, chat. I'm gonna assume here... That's right, he's doing it again. I'm gonna assume the way this works for Hina's case is that Hina only absorbs misfortune from people. And because the deserted island doesn't have people around for miles, the only misfortune she's going to be siphoning is from John himself, which will then immediately go back to him anyway, so it's a net... It's like it's a net neutral. Nothing actually changes. So, all of her positives outweigh her negative, because her negative's not even a negative. It just is. It's just every now and again you see some fucking, like, purple goo floating around her that says misfortune, and it's like, oh shit. That's all. I'm gonna act on the assumption that that's what it is. That the misfortune comes from people. Because the whole idea of her is that she's a Hina doll, and it's based on, you know, the Nagashibina, where they float the dolls down the river to carry away their misfortune. So they gather the misfortune of people, and they're floated down the river to get rid of it. That's what they do. So I think it's fair to assume that Hina's ability only targets human misfortune, because that's kind of the whole ordeal, like, that's the whole deal of what her origin is. Mayumi and Nemono. So, Mayumi, stout guard, capable of combat, soldier. That's all I got. And I know we talked about Nemono before, but Nemono is one of the most picture-perfect examples of wilderness survival. Understands how it all works in the mountains. So, she's definitely very, she's aged, experienced, capable. She's probably pretty strong. She is a good pick for this. As much as I don't care about her, it's hard to argue against her, because she just... Everything about her natural, like, character is a good fit for this, this challenge. Kosasi is a girl. That's it. She's a girl. Luis. Oh god, speaking of. Alright, we have girl 1 and we have girl 2. So girl 1 likes to dress up as a maid for some reason. And girl 2 was going on vacation when she got assaulted. Which girl? Which girl? Now, I would argue Luis is better, just because Luis is probably a lot less dangerous than Mugetsu. Whereas Mugetsu, while she's definitely stronger, that's not really what you need in this situation. And it's unclear how much she'd actually help you. and how much she's actually good at what maids are good at, because like one of the only things we know about this character is the fact that her dress as a maid is just her cosplaying. So she's not actually a maid. That's such a weird fucking aspect to the character. Like one of the only things we know about her is she's a fucking cosplayer. That's it. I think Luis is more, I think Luis would be more engaging in conversation. But I feel like, yeah, she would view it more as a vacation than anything, so she might be a bit of a hassle. But Mugetsu is an unknown and way too many factors, and you'd have to guess, like, all of them. Would she be helpful? Would she not be? Is she capable of doing anything? Is she not? Would she hurt me? Would she not? Like, what exactly, what is her story? Also, it really doesn't help that her character design is pretty... it's not bad, it's just really basic. Like, chat, that's Alice. That's literally Alice cosplaying right now. Just put Shanghai in the image and it's Alice. Straight up. Her design is very generic. But it's so generic that it looks like Alice. Which maybe that's mean to Alice. Alice has some aspects to her that stand out for sure, but she's just a short blonde-haired girl. That, like, Mugetsu doesn't have anything that really stands out. Gengetsu, her sister, is not too much different, but that she has the big angel wings, so she stands out immensely. No, Mugetsu is not Alice. Alice is perfect not because of the way Alice looks, but because of the way Alice is. And looks. Alright? It's an important distinction. I'm clicking Luis, though. Doremi and Momoyo. Right. Doremi just... I don't know what Doremi does in the real world. Just be in your dreams, I guess. And Momoyo, well, she can dig. She could probably find some berry stuff. That's all I got, really. I want to believe she comes with her own tools. She also eats rocks. That's great. Good for her. Yeah, Momoyo's lifestyle is very rough to begin with, so she would be pretty much in her element. So I think she'd be a good choice. But she is definitely one of those characters that would be hard to deal with if she does not respect you. Mai and Iku. Mai's a bitch. Iku is a nice lady who can predict bad weather. And she's really good at reading the atmosphere. But, you know, a common joke is she's really bad at it. She can't read the mood at all. But she's nice. Her outfit is not going to survive past the first, like, 3 days. She can make lightning strikes, or she can make fire. She's professional. She can probably cook. Can she build? I don't know. But it's not really much of a competition because Mai is Mai. Mai's a bitch. Alright. I remember the Amazing Frog. We already talked about her. Amazing Frog can just, like, pull up the earth and make a stone igloo. Or I guess a little makeshift cave. That's her goal. That's her role there. She can do that. She's very helpful. And Kurumi is just a little vampire child who hangs up by the Lake of Blood. Said. That's her character. Send tweet. Fisher. She can fish and she is a cow. That second part is unknown on how helpful that is. But the first part is definitely helpful. She is a fisher. She can fish. Good for her. Do your best. At the very least, it's more helpful than Kurumi. You are not a character. Aki does not have the same dominion that her sister does, but she's still related to Autumn. I don't know how much that would fuck with her in a tropical setting, but she's more familiar with, I don't know, you know, she probably picked up a few tips from her sister. Got a hell of a fucking buck, that's for sure. And you know what? I think there's more notable positives to her than there are notable anythings to Singyoku. In fact, there's nothing known about Singyoku. Singyoku's barely a real character. I don't even know if they're a nice person or not. Maybe they're an asshole. I don't even know. I don't know. But Shizuha, I'm willing to bet, is at least okay. I can't think of anything she'd really be flawed in, but there's nothing that she inherently excels at that we know of. Okay. So this one's pretty easy, but for the sake of conversation. Marissa, as we established before, she already survives on her own out in the forest. Good at gathering, you know, she's tenacious. Good conversationalist as well. She'll be helpful in a lot of different ways. Banki has an attitude. To put it simply, she's kind of a bitch as well. But people like her anyway, so it's okay. Sometimes a rotten personality is okay if it's fictitious. Remember that, chat. If you ever meet somebody in real life who is actually reminds you of a fictional character, and that fictional character is known for an endearing character trait, it means you just met a toxic motherfucker. Sunduru? Everybody wants a Sunduru, and then they meet one in real life. You don't want a Sunduru. Sekibanki. Yeah, Sekibanki's just kind of hard to get along with. She wouldn't be very helpful. She's not especially skilled in any real way for as far as this challenge is concerned. Her ability to use multiple heads is a thing she can do, but what can she do with it? That's the question. I don't think anything she could do with it outweighs Marissa's usefulness. She would definitely expect John to do all the work, though, because that's the kind of attitude she has. But it's okay, because remember, because she's a fictional character, I can fix her. And all of her shortcomings and endearing character traits are acceptable because I know that deep down, they love me. Even if I was a worm, they would love me. And the thought of any form of bad behavior that goes against that thought doesn't exist. And that's the most important part about fiction, is fiction can't cheat on you unless you make it cheat on you. In which case, I don't have anything else to say. Actually, I'm holding my tongue. I was gonna say something mean though. I was gonna say something mean. Don't worry about it, chat. You know what I was gonna say. It wasn't gonna be good, but you know, if I was gonna get a comment that got mad at me for suggesting that that is a bad thing, then seek help. Anyway, click on Marissa. Reimu, oh no. Reimu's like Sponky, but not actually as bad. Not actually as bad, I don't think. But she would definitely be pretty equal in terms of not helpfulness that Bonky is. It's close. But at least she could, like, throw a needle at a fish. I guess. Fortune teller. I don't know if the fortune teller is the guy I want to look at for surviving anything. And then Junkie. Now, Junko as a mom was a mom. And as far as I can tell, being a mom, you are legally required to be able to cook and clean. as a mom. Like, that's part of the document you sign. So maybe Junkie can cook, but that's all I got. I don't think she would necessarily give a fuck about anything. I have no idea what kind of reward would make her want to participate in such an event either. I mean, you can talk about how much you hate the moon, so that would be great. But like, there's nothing else you can talk about with her because she doesn't care about anything else. All she cares about is her hatred of the moon. And I can't have every conversation that the fire pit can't beat. Man, fuck the moon. No matter how much it fuels her. It can't be every conversation. So yeah, like, Junko isn't inherently bad, but it's, considering how Junko's character is designed to have a very one-dimensional look at things, like, she's designed in a way to, like, everything about her revolves around her desire to prevent vengeance against Chang'e. Now, there are obviously some aspects to her that have been played around with by fans, but ultimately, as far as canon goes, she will not act outside of, like, you know, her revenge plot. And she promised not to attack the moon for a little bit, so she won't be doing that for a while. So she has no reason to appear. Akatia and Clown Piece appeared after 15 a few times. Hell, with Visionaries and whatnot as well. But Junko just never really showed up again because there's nothing that Junko can really add to anything, because the only reason she would ever show up is if it directly involves Lunarians. And she would be the antagonist. And I think that's the worst part about it, is that the only way Junko will ever show up again in canon is if she is antagonizing the Lunarians. And because of the way the Lunarians are, based on Touhou 15 anyway, Lunarians are never gonna not be in a... They're never gonna do anything that requires Junko to be the good guy. They're always gonna be the poor, oh no, Junko's at it again, gotta save them, even though they're the most ungrateful pieces of shit in the entire series. So Junko will never win. Junko will never be allowed to win. And the day that we get a random-ass entry in the series where Junko blows up the fucking moon, like Eggman style, oh, that'd be so good. Dude, wait a minute. I bet fucking Junko would love that cutscene. Junko would love that cutscene. Fucking watching the arc cannon blow up a chunk of the moon. Junko be like, yo! She'd pop the fuck off. 100%. Just fucking space call on the arc. Just chunk the moon, dude. She'd be Eggman's biggest fan. She'd find a way to meet him. They would work together to destroy the moon. Put a fucking crater in the moon. I like how the explanation for that is that, like, the moon turned away so you can never see the hole in it. Because there's like that doesn't just grow back. The moon doesn't just fucking grow back. But the moon turned at an angle, so in every future Sonic game, you can't actually see the hole that Eggman put into it. It's very convenient, isn't it? It's the dark side of the moon now, permanently. But that's also what a lunar capital could have been. It's where the lunar capital could have been. So Junko would have been on that shit. Source? I don't remember, actually, where I heard that before, but when you really think about it, it makes sense, doesn't it? Because how do you retcon the moon fucking exploding, like a crater going through it from SA2? Because SA2 is canon, because Shadow is canon. So everything in SA2 had to have happened the way it did. So the moon had to have blown up. So how do you explain the full moon being properly placed in future games? It's because the moon's at an angle that it's never showing the hole. Is it stupid? Sure. But they kind of wrote themselves into that one by blowing the fucking moon up. Anyway. Back to what I was talking about. Junko is fine. The fortune teller is a complete unknown. But I bet Junko can cook better than him. So I'm gonna click Junko. This is not a contest. Renosuke is a dude, and he is probably good at household chores because he lives alone. He has lived alone for a long time. He's had to fend for himself. Aside from that, he seems pretty basic. It's just John and Renosuke, you know, just a patented male bonding experience. That's all it is. That's all it is. Better than a bunch of floating eyeballs. Okay, so we have girl who plays music and girl who you wake up biting your toes. Be careful around her. Do not let her near your toes. Ruma is just a mouth to feed. That is the long and short of it. She is a mouth to feed. She's not helpful. She's gonna hurt herself because she flies around the fucking dark ball. And then she's just gonna be hungry 24/7. And that's why you can't let her nibble your toes. But she's not gonna be able to do anything else except eat, so she's not a good idea. Keep her away. Poor her. Bad reputation that she has, but it's true. It's so true. Okay. And Yatsuhashi, who Yatsuhashi, as far as I know, is just a pretty generic character. Just a fairly generic character who plays music. Her personality can be arguable to be similar to Lyrica, where she's just kind of like, I don't know. I wouldn't call her upbeat, but she's just like, it's like a normal girl, I guess. I don't know how to describe her personality other than just like average, you know? There's nothing about Yatsuhashi's design that really sticks out in any real way. In fact, there's that image that exists of all the characters in Touhou like fused together, and it just looks like Yatsuhashi. It just looks like Yatsuhashi. So she's, oh god, okay. Jennifer. Alright, so this is an interesting one. I still stand by Roomba only as a negative because all she is a big mouth to feed. Jun is a hard one to deal with for a while. She's gonna expect all the work to be done for her. She's gonna butter you the fuck up for it. And she's not gonna eat as much as Ruma, but you bet your ass you're gonna be the one looking for the food for her. So she is pretty unhelpful. But there's a possibility that she ends up being helpful later on, based on how well things go for you. But I still think she's a pretty bad choice. At the very least, though, the potential of her being able to help, I think, is better than Ruma. Because Ruma may not try to help, but she probably would just completely and utterly fail because she flies around in that fucking dark ball of hers where she can't see. Like, what am I supposed to trust her to do when she flies around the island like that? The only time Ruma is not seen in her dark ball is under the full moon. Now, obviously, when you see Ruma in anything, like fan-wise, you can actually fucking see her. But she pretty much only travels around in her dark ball unless the full moon is out. So she's kind of like she's like a rare encounter in that sense. You gotta take a picture of her when she's like that. Well, Jump would learn pretty fast that there's no money involved, but if there was money involved for surviving, then she'd be on that shit. But yeah, you wouldn't have any money while there, so not like you'd want to spend anything on her. But then what would she do? She'd go through like fucking withdrawal symptoms? I don't know. Oh boy! That's why you never see her official content. Now the funny thing is that yes, you can't see her, but she also sticks out like a sore thumb at the same time, so it doesn't really work. There's an irony in that. Alright, Yuma is the second, if not the biggest mouth to feed in the series. Now, sensibly, it is Yuma who is the most gluttonous character. She can just fucking consume indefinitely. However, Yuko has been so long established as the bottomless pit of a stomach that I feel that it's still not entirely, like, you can still kind of call Yuko decent competition, but I think as far as canon's concerned, it's pretty obvious which character is meant to be Omega Glutton. It's this fucker right here with the big spork. Yet, somehow Yuko is the one who still ends up with the reputation of being the most gluttonous character. I think it's just because of age more than anything. Yuko's been around since 2003. Yuma's been around since, what, 2001? 2002? I think it's 2001. I'm pretty sure Goyoku Ibum released in 2021, right? Either way, 3 to 4 years is not as long as 20. So there's that. Oh. And then Hikatia, which is just... I'm sure she's fine. This is one of those characters that knowing what she's capable of is pretty not known. Because she doesn't really do anything but kind of show up. Can she cook? She's strong, I know that. Zun told me. I'm just supposed to accept that. Whoa, geez, what? Huh? Panic music. Panic. Panic over. Nope. Nope. Sure. Yeah, so Hikatia is a fine choice, but again, there's nothing about her that inherently sticks out as a positive in this situation. But you can assume she's not dead weight, and you can also assume she's not going to treat you like trash, because she doesn't seem like that kind of character. Hikatia's never seemed like a character, despite her position, to really treat people as under her. She hates the moon, though, so she's alright in my book. That's pretty based, if you ask me. Okay. So Rukoto is a nuclear-powered maid that will definitely not last longer than like 3 days. So that's not an option. She's also really bad at maid work, so that doesn't even matter. And Eternity is a fairy very in tune with spring, with nature, especially in the summertime. So Eternity is definitely the pick here. All the benefits of the fairy, but stronger in the season as well. Mamizo, we talked about her before, I know that. And we established her as, like, her origins. You know, she lived out in the Sato province, out in the woods, whatever. So, she may fuck with you, but if she is entering for a reward, since she'll actually take it seriously, it's probably generally helpful. Maybe even enlist help from the local wildlife, depending on what's there. As annoying as she would be, and how much I don't like her, as you know, she would still be a pretty decent pick overall, I think. Meanwhile, Kasume is not helpful. I don't think Kasume would ever do anything outside of her bucket. Sure, she comes with the bucket, that's non-negotiable, but what does that get you? You can fill it with water and then what, drink it? How are you gonna drink it? She's in there. You know what? I regret saying that, because I know exactly where the line of, I know exactly where some people's minds are going to go for that. Alright. Sailor Girl. She's a sailor by outfit, nothing else. But she's still a lot more helpful than the girl lost in the bucket. Now this is interesting. So, Komachi is, yes, she's lazy. Perfect conversationalist. Would she build? I don't know. Would she cook? I don't know. Would she hunt and gather? I don't know. I actually do not know how much she would actually put forth for this. And I don't know what she's actually capable of either. But as far as conversation goes, she's top notch. So, there's that at least. However, Genji is a wise tortoise. He can probably fish. He can't help you build, he is a turtle. He can't cook, for he is a turtle. What does Genji do? Does Genji win here? Does Genji clear? I don't know. I don't think Genji clears. He can transport supplies. What if it's too heavy? What if he's too heavy? He can't fly, can he? Flight is prohibited. It's cheating. Can't do it. I don't think it works. Turtles can't build because they don't have hands. What? What do you mean? What the? Look at his hands. Do you think he can fucking? How do you grasp? How do you grasp with those flippies? He's got no thumbs. He can't build. I don't even know if he can fish. What can he do? What can he do? Oh, man. I don't know. I don't think Genji would be that helpful for survival. I mean, he's cool, but I think Komachi, despite potentially not helping, it still could help. And again, she'd be great to talk to, in my opinion, because she's perfect. Thank you, Ogi, for the resub. My biases aside, I still put it pretty low. Luna and Kaneko. Luna. Fairy benefit. Okay, that's the plus. That's the plus. Kaneko. Kaneko is a god of the earth or something like that. I can't remember. She's like, I forget what it was. If she was a god of the earth, and then she's trying to pretend to be a god of the winds, but if she was a god of the winds, she pretended. I can't remember exactly. They use all these they all use all these fucking not English words. I don't remember what their origin is. She's a god of the sky, like Rayquaza, right? She's the sky serpent, the world serpent. Yoramungund. He's real. But what else would Kaneko do? What does Kaneko do? I'm being serious. I don't know what she does. All she does is scheme in the background. I don't know what she can actually fucking do with her own two hands. She can summon pillars. She make wind? I can make wind! She can make rice? With what? The fuck you mean? Oh wait, yes, actually that's one of her spell cards. What? You can't eat that! You can't eat that. Throw pillars at fish? Bro. We're trying to cook the fish, not fucking puree it. If you squish a fish with a pillar, like, you're not gonna be able to eat it. That should just become one with the water. She's strong at least? Yeah, but that doesn't matter. Being strong doesn't matter. I mean, I don't think it matters that much. It's like lowest priority. It would only matter if you were stuck on like fucking Hell Island, where 40 feet bears walk around every day. I don't know. They eat the rice. They eat the rice in a meme video. Look, I know Yorihime ate Marissa's Danmaku, but I don't think that means everybody else's Danmaku just tastes like food, you know? I don't think that's really the case. Oh, man. I think Luna is the better choice here, personally. And I base that entirely on the fact that, A, Luna's a fairy, and so she can just build a house in a tree, and you can just walk into the tree, and you can hang out in Luna's pad. And nobody can bother you, because only fairies can see the entrance to their houses. So, you just, you know, they invite you in, and then nobody knows you're in that tree, and you're living good in the tree. It's great. It's pretty good stuff. If water Danmaku can be water and fire can be fire, why can't rice be rice? Well, I feel like the answer to that is because... How about you just get modded and shut up, huh? That'll keep your mouth shut. I'm gonna mod you, you can ban yourself. Put yourself in timeout. Stop asking me questions. All right? Those are not the pre-rehearsed questions that I gave you. All right? You don't stray from the list of things I can answer. That's unbelievable. Unfucking believable behavior. Chat, it's 10:06. Maribel is just a girl. Kanago's more helpful here. Hitate and Rika? I don't know. Rika, it can build, but she's just a human. So she doesn't really have practical experience in the wilderness. Hitate is a mountain dweller. Not as long-lived as I am, mind you, but she still does her best. She's a recluse. She's more interested in the story, but I assume she's more helpful than Rika, at least. Yeah, she can build tanks, but you know you need material to build tanks, right? She's a shut-in. What would she do? I don't know. What would Rika do? You think Rika's not a shut-in? Rika only goes outside if she's in a tank. Coconut tank? See, this is how I know you're reaching. You think that just because somebody can build a tank, they can build it out of fucking anything. She needs metal. She can build tanks, she surely can build something else. Based on what? I thought they just lay down and take picture. What do you mean? What do you mean? If this chat hates Hitate. They hate her. They do nothing but plot on her downfall. I can't believe you think Hitate would be less useful than... Whoa, Jesus Christ. Spook me, why don't you? I don't know, man. Just because you know how to connect metal to metal doesn't mean you can do the same with coconuts and expect the same fucking result. You can't make a coconut tank. I don't agree. I don't think Rika would be that helpful. I can imagine Rika being a little more outgoing, less of a recluse than Hitate, but I also think she's really just a girl. That's really just it. She's just a smart girl. Not gonna be helpful. She's probably like physically weak. But then Hitate may be a shut-in, but surely she's capable. Also, she can probably use her thoughtography to take pictures of things on the island. Granted, they're after the fact, but you never know. She might actually find something with that ability, right? You ever think of that? Huh? But you didn't. Dumbass. Kana. This is like... Kana is basically Kogasa, but less endearing. That's my opinion. Because her whole shtick was that she was scaring the people in the mansion she lived in, and they stopped getting scared, so she fucked off to try and find other people to scare. So she's basically Kogas. That was weird. I tried to say her name, and my brain like gave me two different names, and it collided. It collided in itself, and it simply ceased my mouth. I couldn't figure out what to say when I got to the second syllable. How strange. Yeah, so Kana's like her, but not as endearing, and not as fleshed out either. And Yame we talked about as well. Brilliant constructor. That's a word. Yep. You know, she's known for building. Her poison ability is 100% in her own grasp, and she's popular in the underworld. She's good kind. And Kassen and chat. This is where we're gonna stop at 19%, right here. Lily and Aki, save progress, baby. Save and progress. All right. So, hope you enjoyed, chat. We have now made 12 more percenti in 2.5 hours. We are at battle 127, and usually these sorters go to battle 600 or so. So, what that means is that we are going to be here for the rest of our lives, and I hope you're ready for that. So next week we will continue. Streamer will then forget more information. Streamer will do more refreshing. Streamer will perish. and you can continue to enjoy the conversation. So yeah, look forward to the next one.